Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I would like to let everyone know that we are recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speakers, please add them to the chat box and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is how franchises reach new customers in their community with audio, podcast, and display marketing combined. Here to provide today's discussion is Ian Murphy, Senior Manager of Business Development at AudioGo. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to AudioGo for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you, Ian.
Thanks so much, Lauren. Thanks, everyone. We really appreciate you taking the time here to learn a little bit more about really how we can combine audio, podcast, and display marketing all together for a really effective marketing channel. So excited to show you everything here. So we'll just kind of jump right in. So what we'll talk about today, first we'll start off with kind of a brief overview of digital audio, kind of why targeted local audio advertising is effective. We'll also talk, of course, how audio and display marketing work together to really create a more memorable message and really go a lot further with your customers than maybe one of the channels on their own. And then we'll take a deeper look on kind of how you can actually use AudioGo specifically for multi-channel marketing. We make it really, really easy. And we got some great new tools to kind of track all that as well. So really excited to show you everything here. So first and foremost, what is digital audio? And so when we think about digital audio, you might instantly think about things like Spotify or Pandora, right? That's kind of the streaming music side of things. That's absolutely the main part of it. Of course, there's also things like online radio, right? If we think of iHeart or TuneIn, kind of the digital counterparts of the terrestrial radio stations. And of course, we're also talking about podcasts. I think a good majority of us here probably listen to podcasts pretty regularly or have a topic that we're interested in that we listen to some podcasts. And you're absolutely not alone. As you can see on the left here, podcasts are the #1 fastest growing form of entertainment in the US today. So that just makes it a great place for you to have some presence and make sure that you can reach those customers in your community. Another great thing about digital audio here, in the past few years, audio has really gone mainstream. You can think about the sort of fact that everyone's streaming on their phones, whether they're at work or driving to work or getting their day started, right when they're in the car. We could think about smart speakers. In fact, in the US today, 1 in 4 homes has a smart speaker. So they're pretty much all around us. Of course, also our voice assistants. We're really starting to talk and listen to our devices a lot more. And as we sort of ditch the keyboard and kind of stay in this medium, it really has increased the adoption. And I think it's only going to continue. So that's another great thing there. It's really kind of gone mainstream. And then lastly, it's an extremely effective marketing channel. And we'll dive more into that in a little bit here. But the great thing about audio is you can really make a strong emotional connection with new customers in your community. We can maybe think about a important moment in your life or think about a favorite show or song, right? There's always a soundtrack there. And we really remember that, and that really sticks with us. And so that really allows this channel, it's kind of unique compared to others, to make that really strong emotional connection with the listener. So now that we've kind of talked a little bit about what digital audio is and kind of where it's at today, why is it effective, right? There's a lot of great opportunities out there to advertise and to promote yourself online. Audio is becoming one of the best channels to complement that, and also just get that exposure for yourself in this medium that maybe others aren't really getting that much exposure today, especially on the local level. And so one thing that's great about audio, particularly digital audio, is it's hyper local and it's hyper targeted. We do this all the time for fellow IFA members, for franchisees, for franchisors. You could either, particularly for franchisees, you can run in a local zip code, a local city, and as a franchisor, we could help you facilitate that for franchisees, make it really easy for that kind of localization and that brand approved message. Or you can use the platform to run nationwide franchise brand awareness ads as well. So a lot of great flexibility there. You also have the ability to target listeners based on their age, gender, device type, interests and status. We can reach folks who are homeowners, who are parents, who have higher income, who are interested in nature and outdoors, sports, you name it, who are listening to business-related podcasts, a variety of different options, right? So it can be very, very targeted. Another great thing here is audio is on when screens are off. Right. Of course, we all know we're on our phones, we're looking at display banners and display ads on various websites. But there's also these important moments in our day when we're not looking at our screen, right? We can think about maybe when we're working out, when we're driving, maybe when we're socializing with friends, whatever it may be, just listening to music. And so we really don't want to miss out on reaching these customers at these important moments in the day. Another great thing about audio is it naturally, like I've been talking about, really builds awareness and connections. As you can see on the left, was a study done by Nielsen. Audio ads can lift brand awareness if they're included in your campaigns by 26%. I think that really goes back to the fact that it makes that strong emotional connection, right? Think of maybe famous jingles of restaurants or fast food restaurants, or a catchy pop song that's stuck in your head all day, right? Audio really has that lasting impression. And so if we could send the right message kind of to the right listener at the right time, it can really go a long way with converting them to a new customer and getting them involved with you. The last piece here as well, since it's all digital, so what we're talking about here, it's very transparent and very measurable. So you could measure results in almost in real time, and you'll really have a good idea of the impact of your ads on your business and kind of how things are going, which is slightly different than maybe something like terrestrial radio, where you might not, you might understand how many ads they delivered and that sort of thing and when they were delivered. But with digital, you really get much more information: who's engaged with the ads, how many people came to the website after they heard your ad. So a variety of different ways to track that. So next, I'll kind of talk through just some kind of high level stats on why audio advertising is effective. And like I've been talking about, the first really big thing here is audio ads make your marketing memorable, right? You can imagine it's a great complement to anything else you're doing, whether that's actually local radio as well, or whether it's Facebook campaigns or Google campaigns or any other kind of online campaigns, maybe CCTV campaigns. They see you somewhere, and then later on, while they're listening to music or a podcast, they hear you. So it really, really goes a long way. That's why, again, part of this other study, folks had an 81% increase in the actual recall of the message of the ad when they were listening to audio. So it's just more memorable than display by itself. So not only are audio ads memorable, but these customers convert, right? This was a particular study done around podcast advertising. And so 60% of listeners confirm that they have purchased something after hearing a podcast ad. So that's really huge, right? A majority of folks who hear a podcast ad make a purchase. Again, it's no surprise, I believe, as it really goes back to that strong emotional connection that the medium can meet. And again, it's subject matter that these people are interested in, right? And so, so that's why I wanted to show you these two stats here. It's essentially listeners, they remember what they hear, and then they take an action after they hear it, which I think is a really strong a marketing channel in that regard. So that's kind of digital audio and why audio advertising and local kind of targeted audio advertising is effective. Next, I wanted to talk about kind of one of the core focuses here is the multi-channel marketing piece. So audio is great on its own. It's naturally really great for brand awareness, as you can imagine. It can lead to those direct conversions, like I've kind of touched on as well. But it's really great when you combine that with your display campaigns. And so we actually have a way to do that just within the AudioGo platform. You don't have to go to various sources. With one click of the button, we can enable this type of audio and display advertising, and I'll show you that in a moment on the platform. But the great thing here, just a couple things to note, some of these might be somewhat obvious, if you will, but there's really a natural complement across mediums with audio and display, right? If you think about between streaming music and podcasts and the news and browsing on your phone or on your computer, that really takes up a lot of our time these days, right? And so as long as we have presence on both those mediums, we can really capture customers wherever they're spending their time. Another thing here as well is we want to avoid ad fatigue. And so you might know this yourselves. A lot of folks, and there's some articles and studies kind of coming out as well, but a lot of folks are seeing kind of the same or similar display ads over and over. And maybe it has to do with kind of, COVID and us being at home and spending more time on the computers, but they're starting to feel some ad fatigue, or particularly around display ads, as they're seeing the same message over and over. And so combining these two mediums really helps you avoid that, gives you a different message on a different medium as well. And another thing, adding audio just leads to more clicks, which at the end of the day is going to lead to more conversions. And so, and that goes both ways really. And so users who include audio and display on their AudioGo campaigns, they usually see about a 2 to 4x increase in the number of clicks that their campaign generates. So that's huge, right? We can really see more results. You can imagine the more clicks, the better. And really just any more engagement points with you with your advertising is just going to lead to more conversions, which is more new customers for you. And I know I've kind of been saying this, but you can also track success more closely if you include both display and audio, right? Because not only can we track listeners who visit your website through audio and how many people hear the ad all the way through and where we delivered your ads, but with clicks, we can also display, we can also track clicks, right? And you could set up funnels with your analytics to track after they click, what actions did they take on your website. So we really get a more complete picture of that customer journey when both are enabled. So they work well together. It's almost a sort of a peanut butter and jelly combination there. And especially nowadays, I think it's really important that you have that multi-channel marketing, right? We really want to stand out above the competition. And I think we all know the sort of main platforms that all of us would advertise on. And AudioGo is a great extension of that. It allows you to really get some additional exposure outside of that. And this is a great quote. We work with a variety of different types of clients. This is an advertising agency who working with a local franchisee, and they actually said they increased their clients' ROI by 30% when they included AudioGo ads. So that's a really big jump, as you can imagine. And so, yeah, just a great anecdote from someone who continues to use the platform today because they continue to see those great results. So that's kind of a few reasons why they really work well together. And I'll show you on the platform how you can do it directly and how we really make it easy to take advantage of this kind of combination and really run some effective campaigns without breaking the bank. So next we'll jump into AudioGo. So I think I saw some names that may be familiar with the AudioGo platform, but why should you advertise on AudioGo? We make it really, really easy, right? It's 3 steps to get started. You set your budget and schedule. You tell us how much you want to spend, how long you want the campaign to run. You just either upload your own ad if you have something on file, or we can create one for you. And then you set up your targeting and you're all set. And I'll show you a little bit more in a moment, but with AudioGo, your ad's going to run across premium streaming services, online radio, and podcasts, including Pandora, iHeart, TuneIn. We have 3 of the largest Spanish publishers, Univision, Entravision, SBS, and we work with a variety of podcast-specific publishers. All that's going to lead to over 100 million monthly ad-based listeners across the US. And actually, we're now available in Canada as well, in case you have a need to advertise in Canada. And then also, you could run in Spanish ads, like I mentioned, and we have over 7,500 podcast shows as well on our network. So a lot of great reach in the space. We also have a lot of great targeting options, like I mentioned, over 80 advanced targeting options to reach the right listener, whether they're listening to true crime podcasts or sports podcasts, or if they're parents, if they're 35 to 54 and these 3 zip codes, we can be very precise about our targeting. And again, for the franchisors here, feel free to connect with me. We are happy to build out sort of programs that can help localize and manage local franchisee advertising. And we could really help you with that and offer some discounts and group discounts and the like. So definitely feel free to reach out to me about that. Like I kind of briefly touched on, you can consider us as your personal recording studio. We realize that not everyone just has a professional audio ad lying around. And so we want to make sure that you have that access. We'll create a studio recorded ad for you for only $10. We'll turn it around in about 1 business day, if not 2 at the most. Last thing I'll say there too, you can always revise that ad. It's not set in stone. So a lot of great options there. And we have a lot of examples of that on our website, which I'll show you. So you can absolutely take a look at that. The last piece that I'll mention here is affordability. So one thing that I haven't really highlighted today in the sort of digital audio and audio space, there's some fairly high minimum spend requirements, especially for local advertisers. Most platforms ask for, let's say, a couple $1,000 to $5,000 right in there, which kind of leaves a lot of local advertisers without the ability to run on these types of platforms. With AudioGo, we really wanted to make it affordable and accessible, so you can get started with us for as little as $250 to run a campaign. And you're also going to get some great exposure even at that level. So very affordable, very easy to use. And in fact, now what I'll do, I'm going to jump actually out to the platform here. Excuse my screen. So we can just take a look at things directly. So this is the AudioGo platform, like I mentioned, and you'll be able to run on a variety of different publishers. If you see here, we have some of those examples down here below. So feel free to take a look at this and get all the great details. Like I mentioned here, here's our full network down below and all the various stations and podcast shows that we can run on. And so next, we go back here. Okay, great. So once you're here, to get started, it's very, very easy. All you need to do is click sign up on the top right. It's going to go ahead and ask you for your name, last name, email address, to make it very easy for you to get things set up. It's always free to have an account, and it always will be. And so once you get logged in, it'll take you to your dashboard, which is going to look something like this. Now we'll come back to this. I absolutely want to make sure that you see the reporting that's available to you in the platform. But really, to get started, everything you need is in the top right under Create New Campaign. You could upload a card on file. That's the way the billing is done. We bill you after the fact, only for ads that deliver, similar to other self-serve tools out there. But yeah, really everything you need and all the details to set things up are under Create New Campaign. So you click there. That's going to take us to this form where we'll really fill everything out. And so first and foremost, disregard this top section here. I see that I'm an administrator of the site. First thing you're going to see is campaign name. So just go ahead and enter in a name. Next, here's what we'll enter in the budget. Now, like I mentioned, the only requirement we have, there's no technology fees or seat fees or anything like that. All your spend goes towards delivering your ads or getting an ad created. And so the only requirement we have is that $250 campaign minimum. You'll notice it won't let you move forward without that. We also have these easy to use buttons here. We notice a lot of advertisers choose these levels. So just for today's example, I'm going to choose a 500 here. Next, you choose the start and end dates of your campaign. It could be a couple days, it could be a week, it could be a month, 2 months. It's a lot of flexibility there, and we have some guidance. I'm happy to connect with you to talk through that for each particular use case. But just for today's example, I'm just going to say that we're going to run it for about a week here. Another piece as well is you have the ability to choose the hourly scheduling to decide the day and time of the week that the ads run. This is great if you want to reach people maybe during drive times, kind of rush hour traffic, that sort of thing. For the most part, we recommend to keep it turned off because with streaming, if you think about it, it's really more of that one-to-one message, right? We can't just put an ad on one of these services at 3 p.m. for everyone to hear, right? It's just not how that works. And the great part about that is there is always a listener on the other end. It's not just playing on a particular frequency, whether people are tuning in or not, right? So you're absolutely getting that one-to-one direct message. So the way we look at whether it's 10 in the morning or 10 at night, if they're the right person and the right target audience, we want to reach them, right? So we generally recommend to keep it turned off, but you do have that control. So again, that top section there, all about your spend, all about your schedule with us. Down below, this next section is really all about your ad. So if you have an audio ad, you can upload it here. We also have a section for podcast specific ads, and so you can run directly on podcasts if you wanted to isolate that. We just ask that there's no background music. Or if you don't have an ad, no problem at all. You can click request ad here, and that goes to that personal recording studio like we mentioned. We'll have our team produce the ad for you. We have example scripts. Like I said, we work with plenty of franchises and franchisees to help them create great scripts. And so we can absolutely do the same for you. But all you would need to do is drop in a script here. We just ask that it's 80 words or less. Choose a language for the ad. We can make ads in English or Spanish. Select from a couple options for voice types, 2 for male, 2 for female. Some background track options, and you'll actually be able to preview these so you can get a feel for how they sound. And then lastly, any instructions for the voice actor. So go ahead and drop that in, whether it's notes around the tone or pronunciation. And then from there, all you need to do is hit submit. It'll go to our team. They'll produce that ad in about 1 day or so. And from there, you'll be able to revise it as needed. So a lot of great flexibility there. Next are the display banners. So real quickly, I'll show you an example of what that would look like. So you just upload something from your computer, grab a file, make sure it fits our dimensions, go ahead and click save. And once you do that, and we do actually have three sizes. We definitely recommend including all 3. The companion banners, those are free of charge. They don't cost anything additional. So please do include those. Once you upload the banners, then 2 other sections will pop up here. First is the destination URL. So this is where we're going to send listeners when they tap or click to learn more. And you can include tracking links and UTM parameters to link this with analytics, going back to what I mentioned about kind of pairing display with audio and really being able to track that journey. But particularly one thing that I'd recommend around this is our retargeting. So this is really how you're going to get that multi-channel marketing with one click of the button. You enable this turns on retargeting. And what will happen, anyone who's heard your audio ad Later that day, the next day, whether they saw the display banner or not while the ad was playing, we'll actually be able to show them these same banners on various websites. So they'll see it at the top bar, sidebars of websites. You can imagine, right? If you hear an ad for something and you see that same ad later on a different channel, you're much more inclined to click through and learn more, right? And so that's where what we're kind of talking about here. Definitely recommend including the retargeting in our campaigns. This is where folks really see that increasing the number of clicks. And this does come at a cost. It does increase your budget by 20%. But one thing to note, you can always go back to the top here. Let's say we had 500 to spend like I entered in before. Go ahead and adjust your budget and it'll recalibrate that to kind of adjust with you. So you really can kind of bake it into your budgets. So it's not necessarily an additional cost, if you will. So that would be what I'd recommend, really including that retargeting. This is going to really help us maximize getting that coverage on audio and display. And one thing I'll point out later on, we have a new great tool to kind of track all this as well. So this second section here, again, all about your ads. The last piece is really all about your audience. So this is where we decide where the ads go and who's going to hear the ads. So for location, device type, gender, and age group, these are kind of our four high level options. You'll see below you can refine things and take things one step further, which I'll show you. But for location, you can do, like I mentioned, really as wide as the United States, all the way down to a particular zip code and everything in between. It could be cities, counties, multiple cities, DMAs, MSAs. You could upload a list of zip codes. We're happy to help you there. So again, a variety of different options. I'm just using Los Angeles as an example here. We'll see the city, county, DMA, and MSA. So a variety of options. You just make your selection. And if you wanted to find more areas, you type them in here. Part of why I wanted to show you this, once you enter in a budget, a schedule, and any location targeting, you'll see this audience guide populate on the right here. So this really helps you understand what you can expect from the campaign. So first thing here is the number of impressions or ads that we're going to deliver. That's directly tied to that budget that we set. Next, we're going to go ahead and be able to see that estimated unique listeners. So how many actual individual listeners that we're going to reach, right? And so listeners, of course, can hear the ad multiple times, and we recommend that. And so to kind of find that estimated frequency, if you compare this top number by this estimated unique listener number, that's will arrive at how many times each individual listener is going to hear the ad. So in this scenario, for the most part, everyone's just going to hear it that one time, which is why we're getting this message on the right that's letting us know that the selection is a bit broad. So just keep an eye on that while you're building out campaigns. It will always adjust as you make other changes. I'm just using location because it's easy to show different scenarios, but absolutely keep an eye on this while you're building it out. So for example, here, I swapped out the city, chose a more residential zip code. And now when we compare these two numbers, everyone's going to hear the ad about 3 or 4 different times right in there. That's why we're getting this message, letting us know that the selection is good. So again, just keep an eye on that while you're building out the campaigns. Going back to the targeting, we also have device, gender, and age group targeting. You just uncheck boxes or make selections as needed. And then the last section here for targeting is you can actually take things one step further. So like I mentioned, we have our behavioral segment options. You can reach folks based off their interests. We have a variety here: car buyers, car enthusiasts, cooking, fashion, financial planning, health and medicine, healthy eating, you name it. We have a variety of choices in here. So definitely take a look at these. And then on the right side, we have status, and you can absolutely do both interests and statuses together. So you can reach more folks with different traits, but we can also reach listeners who are business owners, car owners, if they're employed, have higher income, homeowners, married, parents, single, small businesses, students, a variety of different options there as well. So definitely take a look at those. For most franchises, we have a pretty good coverage of the segments, and most folks have been pretty happy with it. So take a look at that. Of course, since we're talking about audio, we can also reach them based off what they're listening to, right? We have kind of 23 core music genres here, as well as on the right, we have our podcast specific categories. So these are business related podcasts, comedy related podcasts, health related podcasts, kids and family, news, politics, science, sports, true crime. A lot of different options here as well. And you can also do music and podcasts together if you wanted to here. So those are our targeting options. Again, you can imagine we could get very, very specific by using all these here. And then the very last thing I'll point out is our newer tool. It's our Audio Pixel. So this is what I was kind of referring to. What we can do here, as long as you have access to your web page or a web page, we can actually take this snippet of code and put it into your web page. And by the way, we have an install guide to make it really easy to take advantage of. But you can input this into a web page on your website. And then regardless of if they've clicked on the display ad or not, as long as they've heard your ad, if they visit that website, we'll be able to track those conversions as well. So going back to getting that more complete picture, we can really track the display sort of channel through those tracking links and through the retargeting. We can also track activity through the audio ads alone through using this pixel and other tools. So we really get that full customer journey and have a really good understanding of how they're interacting with you and the impact that the campaign's having. So I know we stopped at every step of the way on this form, but assuming you have the audio ad and display ads good to go, this takes a matter of minutes really to get started. You can always save draft campaigns, but as long as everything's in here, go ahead and hit schedule and it'll go live at the date that we set for the start date. So real quickly here, just want to give you a quick overview of what the reporting will look like. So this is an example of what a campaign would look like if it's running. You'll be able to see how much of the budget we spent so far, and this is going to update somewhat in real time, how much budget you set for the total, how much time is left on the campaign, how many ads we've delivered, unique individuals reached, a couple conversion metrics on the right here, the listen through rate and click through rate. So how many people are listening all the way through and clicking through on those banners. Again, a lot of great data in here. I know we're coming up to time, so I just want to give you a quick overview to leave time. I see we have a few questions. But essentially from here, if you click on the campaign, you're going to get a more detailed campaign report. So this is going to break things down on a daily basis. You'll be able to see how many impressions we've delivered, how many unique listeners that we've reached. You can always export these reports to download them, take them off platform. You'll see clicks here, spend, and this is that conversion section if you included that pixel with your campaign. Down below, you get a breakdown across location. You can view this as states, cities, and zip codes, and this will show you kind of top 10. If you download these CSVs, you'll get a bit more information. Breakdown across device types, age ranges, gender. And then lastly, whether we choose that stream content or those behavioral segments, that's what we'll see here. So it could be homeowners, parents, high income, or podcast categories and genres like we're seeing here. So that's pretty much the platform. I mean, you can always edit campaigns at any time. We make it easy to duplicate campaigns, a lot of these easy controls, as well as technically speaking, you can start and stop with us at any time. So just because you set a certain budget, doesn't mean we have to hold you to it. You're only billed for ads that we actually deliver. So you just click this button to stop the campaign, and that would be that. So that's sort of the platform directly. I'm going to jump right back here to our PowerPoint to wrap things up. So thank you again all for your time here. I hope this was beneficial, and I hope you got some kind of ideas on how you can really take advantage of both audio and display on the AudioGo platform with ease, without breaking the bank, going to different websites. And I'm here to help out, so please do feel free to send me a note. It's ian.murphy@audiogo.com. I'll happily help you get set up. And like I said, we put together these programs for franchises all the time, so happy to work with you on that. And then lastly, as a token of our appreciation, the first 50 signups from the IFA today from this call or on the webinar will get $100 in free ad credit. So that's over 5,500 free audio ads delivered. So definitely take advantage of that. Here's the code, IFA WebGo 722. Again, here's my email. Happy to help out. And so please do take advantage of this. I'd love to work with you. And with that, I'll go ahead and jump into the questions real quick. And Lauren, yeah, I'll go ahead and answer the questions over chat, I guess. Do you want me to read them aloud for folks to hear?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. So it looks like someone mentioned, will we be receiving a copy of the recording? Lauren, I think that is correct. They will get a copy. Perfect. Good to know. And then someone else asked, how much does each ad cost? And that's actually a good question. I don't think you mean the $10 audio ad production, but actually for the way our pricing works out, it's $18 for every 1,000 ads that we deliver. So even at that $250 level, we'll deliver about 13,800 of these 30-second audio ads, the target audience of your choosing. So a lot of great exposure there. And actually, I'm glad you brought it up. One thing to mention is that's a flat rate today. Some other platforms, if you choose podcasts or parents or high income, that the cost starts to go up. Ours is a flat rate. It's all inclusive. So definitely take advantage of that. And so it looked like those might have been the only 2 questions. I know we're at time. Lauren, just wanted to see if there was anything else from your end. That's everything I had for the group today. Thank you.
So awesome. Thank you so much, Ian. This is excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded and along with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Thank you very much again to Ian and the AudioGo team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.